Welcome to Calm Conversations, the place where we align your dreams, your work, and your life so you can create a business you truly love. I'm your host, Rosalie Matthew, creator of the Signature Loc Method and mentor to luxury locticians. And I'm a true believer that the way you feel about your hair is the way that you live your life. Before we jump in, I always like to start with 3 gratitudes. It's a way of grounding us, um, both you and me, so that we can be prepared for what lies ahead. So today, I am grateful for the courage to start this podcast. Trying something new it can be daunting, but I'm grateful that I am able to do so today. I'm also grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the support that they provide. And I'm also grateful for the place where I am in my life, that I can look back and genuinely have a smile on my face for how far I've come and look forward to where I'm going. So, if you can take a second and think about what it is you're grateful for and try to make it a habit. Anytime you're feeling like things are not going the way that you want them to, take a moment and find, even if it's one thing to be grateful for. Sometimes when you're looking for gratitude at a time when things are not going well, it's even in looking at your surroundings or touching yourself to find that one thing. Like, thank God I have fingers to pick stuff up with. Sometimes you have to get that basic, um, because life can hit you in different ways. And having the ability to lift yourself up by grabbing onto at least one thing to be grateful for is the lifeline that you need to grab onto the next thing you're grateful for and the next thing you're grateful for. Before you know it, you're just in gratitude. And that's how we want to live. So, if you're brand new here, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I wasn't always a loctician. I was actually a quality chemist in the past, before 2008. 2008, I was a quality chemist, and I was that for about 10 years. I worked in manufacturing industries, food manufacturing. The last place I worked, they made lubricants and degreasers. And I worked in the lab making sure that the quality standards were being met and adjusting the variations of the batches that were made. It was a lot of math. And it was an enjoyable job for the people, not so much for the work environment, corporate America being what it is. So I wasn't always doing hair, but I did do hair on the side. I did braids. And at the time when I moved to Atlanta in 2002 from Ohio, everybody was going natural, or everybody I met was natural. And I had my relaxer. I was wearing a weave at the time. And so I was inspired to go natural because everybody that I saw was natural. And I remember my mom asking me what I was doing and wasn't I looking for a job and how was I going to get a job being natural. And I was like, yeah, these people in Atlanta look like they have jobs. I think it's okay over here. So that's what inspired me to go natural. And along my natural journey, I got Sisterlocks. I got to a place where my hair was too long, according to the braiders. It was too long for them to give me the micro braids where they left the ends out because they had to braid so far down. And I got excited that my hair was long enough, or was that long. Maybe I should think about doing some natural styles. And at the time, natural styles weren't what they are today. So they didn't last long. I went to like several different places and the styles didn't last as braids did. So I was online one day looking for another solution, and I came across this website where there was like it was like a flash media um, picture, right? It was a picture in slow motion where the lady threw her hair back. It was like, chop, chop, chop. I was like, wow, what is that? Her hair was curly, it was full, it was amazing. On the side, on the website, it said, no chemicals, your own hair, book a consult, right? So I did that. I booked a consultation. And when I went for the consultation, I didn't follow the instructions uh, according to, they were instructions. I didn't follow them, is what I'm saying, right? So I didn't follow the instructions. I went for the consultation with my hair blown out because the consultation was after work. And she said, come with your hair with no products in it. And I was like, yeah, but I got to go to work. So I blow dried my hair and put a scarf, so I could be presentable for work. But when I got to the consult, she was like, yeah, I'm going to need to wet your hair because I have to do this analysis. And I was like, oh, okay. So we did the consult, and then she had wet my hair. I had blown it out. I was like, so what do you, she said, come back in 2 weeks or something like that. And I was like, yeah, so what are we doing with this hair? Because I can't go to work like this. It was like a real panic. And she had planned that she was going to do this consult and leave. And now here I am stressing. So she did some, I believe she did some coils. It was coils. It was close to my birthday. So I had coils. And I didn't enjoy them, but it was enough to hold me until the 2 weeks that I could get my locks in. I got the samples. And during the time I had the samples, I was chasing people down in the Whole Foods or wherever I saw anybody who looked like they had Sisterlocks. I was chasing them down like, hey, are those Sisterlocks? Look, I'm about to get mine. And the people would just look at me like, good for you, right? So anyway, so I got my locks. And it was a life change for me personally. There was a shift in who I became once the space that was taken up with what do I need to do with my hair every day, that space was taken away, and I started to be able to observe my environment. And the first thing I observed was that this job was not going places, right? I needed to move up, right? I wanted more, and this job was not taking me there. And so it was 2 years into the job that I realized that, because they promised a promotion that a year later was no longer available. And then I had to make a decision about whether I was going to stay or not. The only problem was I had just gotten married, and my husband had asked me to try to stick something out, because the previous 4 or 5 jobs, I had stayed like 6 months, 1 year. Basically, if they ticked me off, I was out. So he had asked me, can we try to settle down and try to make plans for the future? Can you try to stay in one place? So now that I'm trying to stay in one place and the place is stagnant, I had to think outside the box to fill that void, that need to move up. And that's one thing I want us to keep in mind, that you always, well, maybe this is me, but part of human growth, is seeing the next level. And when you're in a place where you cannot see the next level, or you can see that there's a next level, but somehow it's not available to you, it does something to your spirit. So I found myself in that place that there were levels, but those levels were not going to be afforded me, and I needed to grow. So I had to leave. But I had to make a plan to leave, because I couldn't just leave because I had promised I was going to stay. You get me? So, man, it was a hard time, because I for about 2 weeks after realizing that this job was not going anywhere, I was an angry Black woman, right? I wrote a letter that I was going to give to the CEO, telling them about how their policies and all this and all that. And when I reread it, I was like, yeah, what? I mean, it was good to get it out, but what are they going to do? They're not going to do anything. So, as I said, I had my Sisterlocks. And I was working as a braider in the salon where I got my Sisterlocks done. And so I came to my, braiding appointments, and I was complaining about what was happening at my job. And the lady suggested that I take the Sisterlocks class. And at the time, I was like, I don't know that's not what I was trying to do. I mean, I want to leave, but I'm not trying to do hair like that, even though I was braiding on the side, right? So anyway, I dismissed it. And then another stylist, another loctician, was talking to me because she heard me complaining. And shout out to people who hear you complaining and offer you solutions, because it's really up to you to take the advice that you're being given, or explore this. At least you should explore the solution that's being offered, right? So she talked to me a little differently because, as I said, I'm a scientist, numbers talk. So she told me that she had recently quit her job, and she showed me how much she was making, how many clients she was working with, and how her life had changed. And I was like, okay, well, let me look at it a little differently. So I did my math about how many clients I would need to have in order to equal my present job. And I was like, okay, so I made like a 2-year plan. So I was going to stay at this job for 2 years, and at the end of 2 years, I was going to quit. So I signed up for the class with the intention of quitting my job. And when I got to the class, I learned so much about our hair as an extension of ourselves, and the conversation about things that you feel that you have no words for, that are connected to the way that you think about your hair. And so the theory was it grabbed me, right? The theory grabbed me, the process of how you lock their hair, I gravitated towards it, and I was like, oh, I can do this, right? And also the instructors that gave the class, they made the process look so sexy to me, like I needed to be one of those people. And so in addition to quitting my job, I see the level, and that's the level I'm trying to get to. So I took the class, and within 2 years to the day from when I took the class, I quit my job, following the strategy that I had put together. I talked to my husband. We were going to let go of a whole bunch of things in order for me to quit the job. So I quit the job within 2 years, and then I moved into doing locks full time, and my business grew exponentially. It grew faster than what I anticipated. I don't know what I anticipated. Actually, I didn't anticipate anything, right? I was trying to quit a job. I didn't think too far ahead outside of quitting the job. And so I started learning about people and about how to structure my business. And it was a lot of trial and error, because at the time there was the mentorship only went up to teaching you the technique and how to get new clients, and that was about it. So as my business was growing, I was working with different kinds of people. I was learning new things. I was trying new products. And because systems speak to me, I was coming up with systems that worked for me and how I wanted to offer the service. And I started to dream about, oh, if I could do things like this, let me implement this. And I got some kind of a flow that was repeatable in my business. So that led me to become an instructor for the brand that I was working with, for Sisterlocks. And then now I am an instructor for my method, which is the Signature Loc Method. And it's not a method, it's not a technique, it is a thought process, it's a framework for how a loctician can build their business with 50 clients or less and make 6 figures and have a peaceful business. So throughout this podcast and in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about one of the frameworks that's in the Signature Loc Method, which is the 3 C's. And the 3 C's are congruence, capacity, compassion. These three words are words that we use in order to guide our thought process in how we need to be running our business. What processes do we need to put in our business that align with these 3 C's? So congruence is actually the alignment between how you feel on the inside and the action that you take. So in your business, congruence means how I want to run my business is actually how I'm running my business. The policies that I have in my business speak to how I want my environment to be or how I want the people to show up in my business. There's an alignment between who I want to be and how I actually show up, and also who's coming into my business. There's a level of alignment there as well. Capacity is what can I handle physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So physically, how many clients can I actually do? What time of day do I need to be working, as opposed to like when do I have the most energy? What kind of people drain my energy? My emotional state, like does it jump around, and I need to make sure that I don't schedule to be around people when my emotional state is not where it needs to be. Mentally, like when do I do my best thinking? And if you make decisions or do things at a time when your mental capacity is capped, you will make some really bad decisions. And at the end of the day, we want to be able to take responsibility for the way that our life is shaping up. You can't always blame people for how your life looks. So this framework helps you to make sure that the things that you are taking responsibility for, the things that you can change, you can do that for yourself. And then the 3 C is compassion. And compassion is your ability to empathize with someone or with yourself in such a way that you are moved to help them. So having compassion for someone means the solution that you're providing them works for them, but it's also something within your capacity to do. And then compassion for yourself also speaks to forgiving yourself for when you've made decisions that ended up not being good ones. And compassion for yourself also looks like I can't do everything. And if I say no, I feel okay because I'm being congruent. I can say no because I care enough about myself to want to operate at my best. So those 3 C's are how the Signature Loc Method is laid out. And also it has become the framework that I look at my life through. And so as we go in these coming weeks, we're going to be talking about the different areas that congruence, capacity, and compassion show up in your life and in your business. Everything that we're going to be talking about is based on my experience, and I'll let you know if I'm drawing anything from elsewhere, but I'm giving you practical experience that I've seen in my life and in my business that has been beneficial, and that I'm also teaching others and seeing the benefit for them in their lives. My hope is that this podcast will inspire you, will challenge you, and equip you with the practical tools that you need in order to build the business that you love and to live a life that you love. If you want to go deeper with the 3 C's, I have an ebook called Calm Conversations. You can find the link in the show notes. And while you're there, please join my free community where we dive deeper into the 3 C's and other ways to run your business, systems to run your business, and all things related to being a phenomenal business owner who lives a peaceful life. As you're listening each week, if you have any questions, any stories that you want to share, please feel free to share them in the comments, and I'll be sure to include them as part of our experience each week. I look forward to connecting with you, to sharing more about this journey, and to see you living a life that is filled with everything that you have ever dreamed of. Until next time, I'm Rosalie Matthew. Stay congruent, watch your capacity, and be compassionate.